So the first thing that okay, this is the way it's so annoying to do this all the time, but I'm gonna close this too. So the first thing I kind of want to go over is just kind of our editing process for pregame is, like I said, it's different than anything else I've ever worked on, and mainly in that, especially for something like this, I've worked in news and I've worked in all these kinds of fields that handle, you know, just a lot of stuff where this kind of thing would not work, and for some reason, the way we do it, just to me, it works really well. And one of the reasons I think that is because we're combining, since we're doing comedy news, we're not taking it too seriously, and that kind of helps with it. It's video games, right? So one of the things that we do is Lyle will usually not script anything that he sends me. So these clips, he'll send me this file. This is an intro that we did a while ago, and people seem to really like. But he'll send me this, this is like the audio file for the intro, and he'll send me this, and he'll basically tell me like, okay, so here's what I have. I had a couple ideas for it, but other than that, like, you don't have to even stay to those ideas. Just do whatever and like let me know how it looks. So, for example, like this intro, I thought was a very good example of this. He'll send me this, this intro.
New year comes new beginnings, and that's why I'm kicking it off the right way by seeking defeat. Yeah, you heard me right, because you can't have a good vengeance without a good
So none
defeat.
of this,
That's just how it works. It's like bulking.
none of this was his idea. Like, one of the reasons I think this works so well is that, like, none of this, he never told me to do any of this stuff. Some of this, like, later on, I would hit him up and be like, hey man, I have no idea what to put here. So I like put this, right? And like, that's the kind of stuff that I think really works well on this show, is like being able to be very creatively flexible, and like it's almost like improvisation on top of improvisation. So he's sending me an improv intro, which he does not script. He just kind of fires off. He scripted a few, but for the most part, like, it's just been, this. And that's, like, to me, what's always so fun about this show is that I get to do kind of whatever I want. And so, like, making like, I had this idea. I don't remember what was, like, drove me to saying it was I think I literally had this whole idea because I found this image of a construction worker. I think that's the whole thing, if I remember correct, is that I was like, who could he have vengeance on? And I just typed in like normal guy or something, and this guy came up, and I was like, oh, so like construction accident, and I had all these like ideas that kind of, like, I mean, sometimes I gotta spell it out, but like it was just like this stupid idea, and the idea being like, I also just like kind of creating monsters for these things. It goes very well with like the most ridiculous stuff. So one of the things, so that's basically like how some of the process is. Just, he sends me something, I get to kind of do whatever I want and interpret what he's sent me in any way that I kind of feel like, and then I can go in and start making some of these edits. So the main thing that I use here, and if you're noticing a lot of these, so if you don't use Premiere, some of this stuff is going to be a little bit weird because Premiere has some functions that other programs don't. Number one, if you edit in Vegas, I know Vegas doesn't have really anything like nesting. So nesting is a thing that I use a lot. And nesting is basically the act of, it creates a smaller sequence or a video. And then you can kind of edit on top of that. There are ways to do it differently. I just find this the easiest because I can just go in here and manipulate how I want. So in this scene, geez, which one was it? I got to refind it. Okay, there it is. I'm going to move this over here. So in this scene, I'm having him, lift the bars, right? this is like just several layers of nested sequences. So at the most base layer, I have this, where these are all, I have all of these created together. This is like the hand, So I edited this. I cut out this so that it looks like he's more like he's holding it. And then, I did the same thing on the other side, and I have the weights. And then here, I nested it, basically meaning I just combined them into one image on one layer, and then I had him lifting it. And then, because this is transparent, I put it on top of this image of him on a bench. And it kind of all comes together fairly easily. What's also convenient about this is that if you construct kind of these characters, you can like add on to them and stuff without as much effort because it's saved in the nest. So another set is here. This guy is throughout the entire video. So I've used this nest several times. So like it's mainly just like this is the head and then this is the body. But then since the head is separate, I can put the head in different places, which I did. Like I used it here, So I use that. So I just cut this and then I moved it somewhere else. There's a lot of like copy and pasting on this just because for consistency, and also because it just makes it faster. When we first started doing this show, I had to do this in one day. Now I have more closer to a week, and that kind of makes this a lot easier in terms of workload and getting it done. If you wanted to do something in this style, I think this is probably the easiest way, at least that I've found, to do it, just because I've been doing it for so long. A lot of these techniques I might be showing you also, there probably are better ways to do it. This is how I do it. There definitely are better ways. I'll say there definitely are better ways to do it. So, like, I'm sure you've already guessed, this head asset that I have, we use this for every episode. I always put Lyle's head on something or someone. This is kind of just something that like I have, and I have to, I've kind of like messed with a bunch. But like it's pretty easy just to kind of stick that on anything. Like if you were going to edit something like this, I would recommend you have some static assets that you can play with. This has made it so much easier to edit the show, just this picture, because I have something that I can fall back on almost every single scene, and that helps a lot. You need to use... Okay, hang on, someone's asking a question. Really solid work, man. You ever need to use After Effects, or do you mostly use nests on Pregame Discharge videos? So mostly I use nests. I use After Effects sometimes. I've used it in certain episodes. Typically, if I need to use the puppet pin tool is when I use After Effects. Most of what I'm doing, it's not supposed to look very clean. So I know After Effects to an extent. I'm not good at it, really, because most of what I do is in Premiere. I'm very good at Premiere. I'm okay at Photoshop, and I'm okay at After Effects. I honestly, for a long time, what I was doing in Photoshop, I've kind of converted it just over to Premiere. Like today's the thumbnail for this. I used to make thumbnails when we for a long time in Photoshop, but then Lyle was telling me, he's like, oh, I just make thumbnails in Vegas. I was like, oh, well, that's genius. So I just started making it in Premiere. This took me way less time just because it's much easier to manipulate PNGs in this than it is with Photoshop. It's just, there's not as much settings that you have to fuck with. It's way easier just to mess with this. Okay. So yeah, so I don't use After Effects a lot. And a lot of the stuff, because it's not supposed to look super clean and professional. If it was something that I was like more animated, and I had to do something that had to look a lot cleaner, I would 100% use After Effects over Premiere. But it does, I think the show loses a little bit of the charm once it starts to look too good. And I think everybody like kind of knows what I mean when like you kind of, if you having trouble understanding what I mean, maybe think back to like any time there's been like a YouTube show that gets onto television or Netflix or something, and you're just like, the charm is all gone. And that's because like for some reason, if it's too clean, it just doesn't read as genuine. And that's one of the things I love about this show, is that it doesn't have to be like super clean. So So like stuff like this is like I use this kind of technique a lot too. And this is another thing I wanted to go over. So like I forgot I put the guy in there. So it, you know, you using images, a lot of this stuff is just kind of basic. It's not, I would never call myself an animator, but this is like basic animation, like technique stuff. Like just, okay, this goes here, and then I don't have to animate him falling down. I just have him there. Some other stuff in this episode that's fun. Oh yeah, there's that. But for the most part, I just kind of wanted to show off the nesting technique makes things a lot easier. Especially when it comes to building these basically puppets. So like this, you know, you have this scene, and then I've built on it to be a lot more complex. I've had each wing move independently and kind of come out of his back here, and then like these come out of his side. That these are different. You know, these are all different layers that I've kind of just stacked on top of each other. But it also, nesting also just makes your sequence a lot cleaner. The one disadvantage is that if you do not render, which I have not rendered these, you can see by the yellow bar here. If you don't render them, it can kind of slow your sequence down a little bit. But my PC can usually handle most things I can throw at it. I don't have a problem with that. But if you are nesting stuff, I would recommend nesting the sequence and then nesting outside of the sequence as well. Just because a lot of this stuff can just start to bog your computer down. There are certain episodes that I've had to just like be really, I've had to basically just say, okay, I'm going to export this and then put it back into the project and be like, this is done. I'm going to export it, put it back into the project, and then use that just as an MP4 file. And that's made it a lot easier. Okay, so anything else? Let's see. Oh, shoot. Did I not tweet out that I went live? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. I'm going to tweet that out really quick. I'm sorry. It's been a hell of a day. But yeah, a lot of this stuff, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay. All right. Okay. Now it's, jeez. I swear, having to reset everything just completely messed me up. Okay. So, a lot of this stuff is just really just like breaking down little tiny bits of what he's saying. And the technique that I kind of like to use is you see all these pin marks. I kind of just go through the intro, and where I feel there should be a break. So yeah, it's with just little breaks in the speech here. Is this coming through, you guys? Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, let me know if like anything's going on with the sound or anything like that, because this is getting kind of frustrating. That
Right way by seeking defeat.
okay, so I think that's working better. So yeah, if you notice, like just here, there's kind of like a gap in his speech, and then I just take that and I put a pin here. I start a new scene. Same here. I put a pin here and I start a new scene. You kind of want it to. There's no sound. Okay. 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 Yeah. No. I'm telling you, I had this all set up and it was great, and then it broke, and then I had to fix it again, and I just haven't. Some of the settings are going to be a little bit wonky. Okay. So another thing, yeah. So basically, he sends me this. It's unscripted. I get it. I kind of have to brainstorm ideas. Typically, I'm just throwing shit at the wall until I figure out what works. This episode in particular took a very long time to come up with an idea for, because it was so ambiguous. Like, I kind of wanted to go big, and I honestly, like, I thought he was gonna hate it when I sent it to him. But like, typically you can't go wrong. I think when I was editing, when you're editing with Lyle, to like just go as like stupid as possible, and and it's like it'll kind of come out good. So I remember, like, I found the image of this guy, and I'm like, look, it's your new, like, this guy, he's your new worst enemy, and he thought that was funny. And then I just was like, well, how do I make him a threat but also like ridiculous? And I just thought, like, okay, well, I kind of came up with this concept where it was just like a buff bee man or wasp guy. And then I, typically I think I got stuck like right after that. And typically that's what happens, is like I come up with something and I'm like, okay, now how do I like keep going and push that? And when I get stuck, I start doing the stuff where it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing for this. So like, he's very literal here. Yeah. So the whole, like, I was like, okay, well, I know this. I can find images for this. And I just start working on the stuff like that, and then I just have to like grind more and more. And how do I come up with other ideas? Yeah, this is literally the last scene, actually. Yeah, this is the last thing I did, was this, because I couldn't think of like anything to put here for a long time, and I was like, okay, like, be kind of funny if, I think I started just coming up with ideas where I'm like, okay, what if he's just being chased by this guy, and like he's kind of he's paralleling what Lyle is saying, and I typically do a lot of stuff like that where Lyle is kind of just this, in Lyle in the show is this ambiguous character that just things happen around, and it makes it a lot easier to kind of just break down scenery in the background, because he's always static and I always have this image, and it's very easy to kind of just work around this and just be like, okay, well, how do I make this funny? How do I make this ridiculous? And this was like the last thing I came up with, because I was just so stuck. This episode was so tough, but I'm glad people seem to really like it when it came out, so I'm glad. Okay, jeez. So I think the first thing I came up with actually for this, after I built the Wasp Man, was this, where this was also one of the later scenes, was this shot. And this shot is something that I was really proud of, and I was just like, okay, so he's a Wasp guy, he has to fight something. So the first thing I think the first thing I sent Lyle, after I came up with the Wasp guy, I sent him the picture of the Wasp guy, I sent him the picture of the construction worker, then the picture of the Wasp guy, and then I sent him, and then Lyle's like, well, like, when that happens, I want it to be like an epic. He'll give me notes sometimes, and he's like, I just want it to be like this epic, like, I kick the door in kind of thing. So he even added this sound effect for me to work with, and I think it really came out good. So this shot took me, I want to say, like, almost a whole day. Not, it probably didn't take me that long. I just remember it being very long, and I don't think I've spent as much time on a shot ever on pregame, because there's so much stuff in here. What is this even doing? Oh, wait. I don't even know what this mat is for. What if I remove this? What is that? Oh, it's the okay. It's the background. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Everything's up here. Okay, that makes it. I thought it was all in that nest. So there's like a ton of stuff going on here. This, for example, this door animation, um, if you can even call it that. I do this a lot, which is this is just me kind of taking an image and then tilting it on an axis at 3D, and it just kind of, it's a door opening thing. It doesn't, it looks kind of flat, but if you do it quick enough, it doesn't look that bad. Is the content audio still quiet? No, I'll double check it. Just maybe I can just bump it a bit. But well, there's no audio on this part, if that's what you're wondering, because there's no audio footage here. This is a nested sequence inside. So nested sequences are just like combination sequences. There's a bunch of different things stacked on top of each other that I kind of went with. Okay. So this is just a combination of a bunch of different animations. If I break this down, I'm gonna go down here. I'm pretty sure this is the doors. No. So this is actually this is how I made the wall. It's not that clean. I thought this was a little cleaner. This is just a composite of a bunch of different wall textures that I put together. And if I rewind it back, this is the color mat. So this is basically just a doorway here. Or is it? That's the ground. Yeah. So this is just the stone on the ground. That's literally all that is. And then if I start going into these mats, you'll start seeing like pieces of it. So this is Lyle that I had to build, and this started with just him in a beekeeper's outfit, and I was like, okay, well, how do I get ridiculous with it, and how far can I really push this? So originally, I think he didn't have the raid here. I think he just had this. I came up with this, I think, first, which was which is like the little electric thing, and the combined with a mace. It's not none of this. Like the thing about it is, I'm not going to show you like too many impressive techniques. I'm just trying. I'm kind of like trying to show you just how I do it, because this is really a lot of this is just basic stuff, and I think most people could make this show. It's just I've done it for so long that I've gotten a lot more proficient at it. Basically, this beekeeper image, I had to add the hands on. I had to put a mace in his hand, and I had to put this over to attach it to the chain. And then I had to find I think this is these cans here. I actually just looked up gas. Yeah, I think it was like gas canister belt or something, and that came up, and I was able to get that. This is a gun holster, and I just put raid in it. This is just a random trident. I thought it would be cool if he had a trident. I don't know. And then I put a fly swatter on his back. Oh yeah, what was the other thing that was weird about this image? Oh, okay, so fitting him in here was also a pain in the ass, because the thing about that Lyle model is that his hair is just freaking crazy. So I have to mess with that a lot to get it to kind of fit these things. Even now I'm looking at it and it's not perfect, not even close. I think at this point I was just like, I'm just so like, this episode took so long. This was a very long one. But it came out, but people liked it, so I don't mind, all the work that went into it. But okay, yeah, so that's just another version of that I used. And then if I go down, yeah. Oh, the Timberlands. I didn't actually add the Timberlands. I think that the original image, I looked up beekeeper, and I was like that's the hardest part, is if I have a character that is an entire body, finding a full body image of certain character like models is so hard. So like finding a PNG of a beekeeper was hard, but finding a PNG of a beekeeper where his legs were intact and like they didn't chop him here was so annoying, because if it's a guy in like a suit, I can just find a full body guy in a suit that I like. Oh, sorry. I can find a full body guy in a suit pretty easily, but if I don't have like all the pieces, I can kind of stitch them together. So it's like, oh, well, he doesn't have, like, this guy is cut off at the hip. I can just find another guy with pants and just stick him underneath it. It won't be pretty, but it'll work. This, on the other hand, was such a pain in the ass to find all this stuff. And then, let's see, the doors opening animation. I kind of wanted to go over that. I'm pretty sure this is it. So this is a weird one. So I want to say that this is one image, right? Yes. So I basically just took this image of a medieval door, which is just the stone with the doors here. And then this is, I've edited it to, I'm 99% sure this is what, yeah. So I masked it, so I masked the door out. So if I move this, this is just the stone. And then this is the same image, but I've masked out the stone. And this is just one door. So this is just the same image multiple times where I've masked out different parts of it. I'm sure there's other ways to do this. This is how I do it. And then I have it tilt on an axis here. I had to kind of cheat this because when you 3D an image, if it's in a sequence and it's not straight down the middle, it doesn't work the same way. And I had to move this around. So like, let me see if I can double click on this. So see, this is the nest here, and it's not quite symmetrical. I had to move this door. It's just weird. I had to mirror it basically. I had to move this. This door would normally, you would think, because of the way it swings, I have to put the back of the door toward the center of the image, to the center of this sequence. So if I go into here, it should be in the, yeah. So like it's right in the middle. That way, when I nest it and I attach it here, and then I can swivel. I use the swivel tool on basic 3D. It swings open, and it doesn't look pretty, but I mean, I think it looks pretty good, but you know, it's not supposed to look perfect. That's the whole charm of the show, is that everything looks a little bit hacky. And this one has a lot of little details that I didn't used to do. So the other thing that I didn't used to do was shadows. This is pretty easy. I just took a drop shadow, and then you can use this function pretty easily. I'm pretty sure is this it? Is this the drop shadow? Nope. Is this the drop shadow? Nope. One of these is the drop shadow. I think it's this. Is this? Yeah. So, this is just literally, I took that same nest, I gave it drop shadow in 3D, and I just have it so it only shows the shadow, and then I had it attached to his feet and then bend all the way back down. Oh yeah, another thing you should do if you're using Premiere, always have autosave turned on. It's doing that. It's probably going to pop up a few times, and it's a little bit annoying, but you should have that turned on because I have lost hours of work without autosave. Okay. So let's see. Let's break down a different episode. That one's fun. If you have any more, let me just see if there's any more questions in the chat. So, you know, for the month, what would it take for you to put every game on sale in the Steam stores? So you know how you have the end of the game, you have the videos of the game releases for the month. What would it take for you to put every game on sale in the Steam Summer Sale instead? That kind of stuff. It's not really like, the summer sale is not really news, if that makes sense. Like, at that point, we'd have to also cover like the Epic Game Store and other stuff. It just doesn't really seem like something that we would super cover. It's not newsworthy. The reason we just do the game releases is because we felt like there's just maybe something that we should talk about with that, but we didn't really want to give it too much time. So we do that little blurb at the end. It's kind of a joke. It's not really like a real thing. And even if you use it, I think that's great. But it's not something that we really prioritize, if that makes sense. Let's see. All right. Well, let's go through a different episode. I think we talked about this one enough. So this is the most recent one, and this is like probably one of the least I think this is, of the new season, this is the least complicated. A lot of this is just me taking static images, combining them, and then moving them. And like, this was pretty easy. I just looked up men in suits PNG, and I just got these three guys. And then I got masquerade masks and put them on them. Not very advanced. And a lot of this is just kind of me slowly zooming, adding fades. This is probably the easiest one that I've done in a long time. But I think like the simplicity of it, a lot of people seem to like, and I like this intro. But you know, and another technique that if you're gonna do stuff like this that helps, if you want to add a little bit more perspective and kind of depth to some of these, like it's everything looks very flat, but you can kind of make it pop a little bit. Um, if you just take kind of the background and you blur it a bit, it's helped a lot. I didn't used to do that, but like just these little tiny details over time that you kind of just come up with. That's something that I didn't used to do, and then like it's gotten a lot easier now that I started doing that. Yeah. So just a bunch of little things combined together. Well, let's watch this one.
As an ambassador of vengeance, if there's one group of people who gives revenge a bad name, it's those dirty orchestrators. What do you think this is, an opera? No, I will not have a Maria. I'm full, thank you. These fucking freakazoids with their half masks and their chessboards. Let me give you some advice. If you're plotting revenge on a chessboard, every piece represents someone who's got better shit to do than deal with your loser ass. Leave him alone, you weird dickhead.
So, when he sent me this, I'm pretty sure that, no, I don't have a contact with the stock image site. Sorry, really quick. People are going to probably ask about stock images and stuff. A lot of this stuff you can just find on Google if you turn on the royalty-free, the Creative Commons license function. And that's typically how I find most of these images. Some of these images I did license and I own for commercial use, but for the most part, they're from Google image search that are Creative Commons typically. You don't have to use that. YouTube's not really great at detecting images yet, especially if they're moving and especially if you alter them in some way. And technically on copyright law, if you do alter them, if you alter an image, it's not using the same image. So like the stock companies usually won't, like they're not going to come, like they don't come after people. I don't think the stock image sites super care, because they sell to big, like they're more worried about big corporations and stuff like that using their stuff. This is not me advising you to do this, but you can use images from the internet that are not Creative Commons. I'm not telling you to do this, but you can. There are some stock image sites that are cheaper though. Now that like content creation is a thing, they're trying to get people who lower. Anyway, so when he sent me this, he didn't say
dirty orchestrators.
He didn't say what he meant by that. What he meant by orchestrators. That was kind of like a joke that like that's a very good example of something where Lyle is just throwing stuff at the wall and then it's my job to make it stick. And I think that's one of the things that makes this show so much fun to work on, is that I'm constantly taking stuff like this that I'm like, just, this is already funny. How do I add to it and not step on it? And that's kind of the dance that this whole series is. And I think that's the thing that's always fun, is that there's so many episodes that we've done where Lyle's like, here, I don't know, like he said this publicly. He's like, I don't know, Kyle will fix it. He's not happy with how it came out, and he just sends it to me. And yeah, it's my job to kind of make it more visually appealing and more. It'll work in the intro. A lot of these, like some of these intros are funny before I edit them, and some of them are just like always going to be ridiculous. So let's see, is there any other, there's not really many techniques in this one, but this is just a good example of something where he sends me something and I have to invent something. So the orchestrators thing, I think he was originally saying was like people, like actual orchestra people. But I just thought like, or sorry, like it was like, you know, Phantom of the Opera type people, but I kind of like went with, well, you know, like the enemies from Hitman and stuff like that kind of look like that. You know, the Illuminati masquerade people. That's what he's talking about, right? And then I made it, and he's like, oh, well, that's not exactly what I was thinking, but that's pretty close. And I was just like, and he's like, that works really good. I was like, oh, okay. So this is another one where it was just kind of, he didn't tell me exactly what he wanted with this. He just kind of sent it to me. And this is probably my favorite intro of the recent ones. I'm just gonna close some of these.
When you're on the go, there's only 3 things you need. Your roller skates, your fanny pack, and a darkness in your heart that burns like a blackened flame, igniting your very soul. Fear? I knew her once. Fucked her twice and left her 3 times. All while wearing a
Okay.
fanny pack. Because I'm so on the go.
I was like, should I not show that? Oh, whatever. It's already on YouTube.
To go, you're not on the go. Being on the go doesn't have a destination, only a destiny. But I passed that a long time ago. It is not until the screaming jaws of the cosmos tear open like the zipper of a fanny pack to surrender the granola bar of oblivion.
So I'm going to stop it there. This is also an extremely complicated sequence because of all the bullshit that I had. So this is not an image. This is not a video of a fanny pack opening. I had to make this image of a fanny pack open. And this took a while as well for breaking it down. So it's just this. I created this. I think it's, yeah, it even is a little bit still choppy here because of the light. This was something that I actually was kind of proud of how it turned out. And it did take a minute. And if I'm honest, I don't remember. Oh, whoop, jeez. I remember everything I did. So let's see. Let me just see which layer I should honestly label these 100%, and I don't. So like, if I start like deleting these, you'll see like all the pieces that I kind of had to put together. This is just like the same image that I've like composited to construct a fanny pack, and then it's slowly I'm moving a mask across it, which is this. If you watch, does not show the mask. I don't know how to make it show the mask while I can just do this. But like, see this mask, I have this mask here, and then this one is, no, it's the granola bar, I think, right? Which is the mask that I had move? Yeah, okay, here it is. So if I click on the mask here, you'll see it kind of like, I had to take this mask and just like, this image is the image of the zipper being closed, right? And then beneath it is an image that I created where I basically cut 2 images of the zipper and I separated them. And then the zipper is a different thing, and I have it tracking at the same time as I'm moving the mask underneath it. So this is I believe this is the zipper. Is this the zipper? Please tell me this is I don't remember which one this is. Or is this? Yeah, this is, I like I said, I don't really remember exactly how yeah, so that must be the zipper. Yeah. So basically, just I have this, which is the image of the 2 zipper pieces together. I have this, which I believe, no, yeah, these 2 together make the open zipper right here. So all of this without this visible, you see, is the open zipper part. So I had to basically take this, I have this mask underneath it, and I'm having the mask move while the zipper moves on top of it to make it look like it's opening. This took way longer than it should have. All this mask tracking took so freaking long because these images do not line up exactly. That's why there's so much feather on it, because it basically had to hide it. I tweaked this for like hours, and it probably shouldn't have taken that long. but I think it came out real good. I'm really impressed with how good, like, how easy it was compared to how good it actually looks. I'm very proud of how it came out. So a lot of that is just like, I basically made two images. I made the image. This is the image of the closed fanny pack, and beneath it I have composites that created the image of the open fanny pack, and then I have the zipper, which is this just moves around, you know. This moves left and right. But then in between the two, I have the image of just the zipper here closed. And to do this, this isn't something you're going to use a lot, but it is just something that I thought was interesting to kind of go over. You do kind of see a little bit of it right here, you know, but that honestly could be just read as the fanny pack moving when you're opening the zipper, you know. I thought that came out pretty good. And a lot of this is just opacity masking. Opacity masking is like the number one thing I do. I use this on almost every image in here is kind of cut or displaced in some way, that just makes it easier for me to create these scenes. Let me just go back here. So that was pretty difficult. Oh, and then, okay, so and then I had the granola bar. I don't remember if that's part of, that must be part of this. This must be the granola bar. And the granola bar is pretty basic. I just have an image of a granola bar and I make it move up, and then I have a glow thrower behind it, which if I break down, I think that's just 2 videos. It's really easy because all I had to do was I have the granola bar and then I have the glow. And I just have to make the granola bar look like it starts glowing. This should probably be over here, but look like it starts glowing, right? If I go back even further, then I have to add motion to it. So, okay, it goes up. And I go back even further, and you see how if I turn this off, this is the opacity masking again. So I have this sequence of the granola bar going up. I have this sequence of the fanny pack opening, and I actually make the fanny pack moves down slightly. And what I had to do then was I had to create a mask on top of this right here, which is this mask. You can kind of track it. Create a mask that would cut off the opening of the fanny pack so that when this starts to come into view, it's not, you know, it's not clipping through the fanny pack, it's coming out of the fanny pack. And there's a lot of weird parts to it. And I'm very like, this was so much work, and I'm very happy with how it came out. I do this kind of technique a lot though. If you want to make something look like it's coming out of something, a typical thing you can do is just kind of like find the opening of the thing, create a nest of the thing that you want coming out moving upwards, and then mask the opening so that only anything outside of the opening on the nest is visible, and that just comes right out. And I was very happy with that, how that turned out, and I'm still actually like, I every time I see it I'm like, oh wow, I can't believe that turned out as good as it did.
That my on-the-go
This was pretty simple.
Finally be safe.
I don't want to violate TOS with that. Is there anything else like more advanced in this one? I'm just gonna try to see if there's any other techniques that are just weird. Yeah, but a lot of this stuff with me creating characters, like this one, like this character here, of him, the on-the-go Lyle, I just looked up guy in roller skates, and I actually paid for this image, the guy in the roller skates. I did pay for that, because it was just like, there was this one guy, and there was like 9 different poses he did, and I was like, that's so great. So I just kept using it, and I was so happy with it. It was so much fun. Let's see. Let's go back one more episode. So what other episodes did we have in here? I'm trying to find more with like more advanced techniques. Hang on, let me like mute this while I'm skipping around because it's super obnoxious. Yeah. So this one, okay, yeah. Where's this shot? Let's watch this really quick. and then I'll go down. I'll go down how some of the more advanced shots work. Okay, no, stop saving, please. So that's another advantage I have, is that because I've done so much stuff in the past, if he ever references old episodes of Pregame Discharge, I just shamelessly will grab old episodes and throw them up behind him. So this is just like, you know, there was, I think, the episode that we just worked on. Yeah, you know, like, so there's the bee guy, and then there's that image of the guy grabbing the orb. That's actually, fun fact, that's my hand. Uh, and that took me, like, that was actually super easy to do. I just kind of took a shot of my hand and then removed, like on a green screen kind of thing, and then just removed it. And I have like, a lot of the times if you see a hand in the shot, it's mine. Unless it's like there's a few clenched fist ones that there's a pretty good image of a clenched fist that I use over and over and over again. So that's just a liquefy tool, nothing special. So this is another, yeah. So this is another shot that took a bit, and I'm not super happy with how it turned out. It's fine, but the disadvantage, this image, there was no other side to this image. Um, so like there's only the image of this being open, and I had to kind of make that work. And to do that, I had to, these are both the doors, right? Had to animate these kind of, they didn't like, see how it moves. I've even that, like, had I noticed this, I would have probably messed with it a little bit more. Oh wait, did it? Okay, it's for some reason, yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, it's kind of just, so these kind of get, so these doors, they get to this point, and then then I turn them off. Once they get to this point, I turn the opacity. I basically transition the opacity all the way down. So at a certain point, they get all the way to here, and then they turn off. And then I have to. It's such a weird. This is such a weird sequence. Basically, the idea that I went with was I took this image, I had it swivel inwards, and then when it got to this point, I turned it into a different image and then had it swivel closed the rest of the way. And creating these doors, I'm still not happy with how they look. They don't look good. This is just an image of I looked up steel, like medieval metal texture, I think is what it is, and it's just like, and then like I got this, and or no, wait, did I take? No, that's right. That's what I did. Yeah. I actually took, if you move him out, I took the back of this. So behind him, where is he? Where is he? Behind him, I took this and I blew it up so that it looks like it's part of the same thing and the colors match. But then it got blurry and weird, and I wasn't really happy with how it turned out. But it's so fast, you barely notice it, you know? And I just had it like kind of, they swivel out, and then once they get to here, I replace it with this image and have that image swivel in at a different point. Not the smoothest piece of work I've ever done, but it works. Okay. Let's go to here. Okay.
To relax. You might not think it from my well-measured demeanor, but I actually have some anger issues.
So, oh, hey, Dex. Yeah, no, I don't use Photoshop typically when I'm making these. A lot of these things, I kind of either use an AI background remover online, which is pretty easy to use. I think it's just like you Google remove background, and it's one of the first things that comes up. Because of just the speed. Like, if I were doing it myself, I would totally just remove it myself. But like, I don't have that kind of time, so I'm just dumping it in there, and hopefully the resolution stays to a point where I can use it. Photoshop is not a super intuitive program for this kind of stuff. Typically, opacity masking is what I use if I have to cut something out. It's just faster, it's easier, and I can manipulate it if I need to inside of Premiere. Sometimes I'll take an image and I'll right click on it and say like what is it? Where is it? Edit in Adobe Photoshop or replace with After Effects composition. Sometimes I do that. Rarely though. And then let's see. Oh, you might have already answered this, but okay? Yeah, no, I did. I answered it a little bit earlier. No, we don't really storyboard these. Typically, what the idea of this show is that Lyle does an improv intro. He kind of takes like a couple hours to just throw stuff at the wall until it's a more coherent kind of thing, and he's kind of just coming up with jokes and weird things that he. That's why the vengeance theme is so prevalent, is because it's an easy thing for him to fall back on and be like, okay, well, what would this character be angry at this week, is kind of like what he does. And that's kind of been a running gag on the show for a very long time. And it's so like basically my job is to kind of interpret what he's saying and then try to make it visually appealing. I usually don't have direction. Sometimes I'll get stuck. I will ask him and like, hey, like, what was your original vision for this? Like, did you have an idea for this when you started making it? And if he did, he'll let me know. If not, it's not like super big deal, and it's not, you know, he won't really. But otherwise, it's not. It's just me. But for the most part, he'll come up with something. He'll send it to me. I have to think of what I'm gonna say, or what I'm trying to get him to talk about. Basically, what is he talking about, and in what way can I make it funny? And sometimes it comes out where it's completely different than his original idea for it, and he thinks it's great. So I have a lot of creative freedom when working on this show. Okay, so anyway, let's go back to here.
It's only by a healthy regiment of tension-relieving coping mechanisms that I'm able to be the calm and collected guy you all know. Getting some time.
So this sequence is kind of complicated.
Yourself to unwind is important, motherfucker.
So.
Sorry, one sec. Hey, can you turn that up? Thank you. I think.
So this sequence is kind of complicated. Is basically going through all this stuff. It's hard to remember exactly what I did, just because a lot of this stuff is just like, okay, I have a deadline. How do I do this? So let's go into the nest here. So what I'm pretty sure I did, I had to make this. This is, I'm 99% sure is, yes, this is the forceps. I had the forceps go in. The idea is him making instead of a ship in a bottle, he's disarming a bomb in a bottle. Of course you know that. But a lot of these little parts were a lot more complicated than I originally anticipated, and this took a little bit longer than I thought it would. So I basically have him like pick it up. This is so this is an image that I took. I took both of the halves of the forceps and I cut it in half. And then I had him pinch. So this is just these two pieces. That's at a rudimentary level. The easiest way to break these down is just to take an image and just make a small animation and then nest that. And then add the other thing you want to add to it and then nest. This actually didn't have to be nested twice. I don't know why it is. I think I was intending to do something else with it and I just didn't do it. Let me see. Can I go back? Okay, so that's why it's like that. I cut it. It's just easier to like make it move that way. Yeah, and then like this is just all little things that I've made it move. So then I had it tilt backwards. Once these images are combined, so you just have it grab this, and that's just one. Well, okay, it's a little bit weird, but I have it grabbing this, and I go back, and then this is making it move. And then I can stack other stuff on top of it. So this is going to be the countdown timer, which is on top of, I actually like this image of, to make this seem more animated, I added a timer. This image of dynamite is just, the bottle is transparent. You can find a lot of these like transparent glass images are actually kind of very useful and they're very easy to find because you don't really have to edit anything inside of them. You just throw them on there. Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, Lyle. He's in the chat. Yeah. Yeah, but most of the time, yes. Like, most of the time what he's saying is just notes. Like, he'll give me notes, but he's allowed me to be very creative, and I think it's like a lot of fun to edit these. This is my favorite thing to work on typically. It's just these intros. Sometimes they're pretty stressful, but I'm always very happy with how they turn out. And then we have these little clips here. So, yeah, and then I have this move up, and then this is, I believe, yeah, this is literally just to add glow, just to hide that. And then, what is it? This is the bottle. So I have this going, and I have to make sure it's high enough resolution. So this is the actual episode. So that when I zoom in, I don't lose much resolution here, and I can just kind of zoom out. Sometimes the way to do that is to actually just not nest it, and that takes a lot longer. But I just decided, this is gonna take too long without it.
Getting some time to yourself to unwind is important, mother.
And a lot of these things, like I said, does help that you can copy and paste in this program. Being able to take this whole image and just stick it here and then put his hand over here, like, it made it so much easier to do that. I think I definitely did this first, and then I just like, okay, now I have this, I can put this over it, and this makes it a lot easier. This is just a video that we took and we put his face over. And I had to manipulate the speed of this to kind of like match what he was doing here.
Doesn't really matter what the pinky finger.
They actually don't move this fast. The centripetal force tests, the G-force with the centripetal, they don't move that fast. I had to speed it up. It's a lot faster than it looks, I'm sure, but it does not look that fast.
And while I don't agree with all of that, I do think it's good that that fucking guy is dead. I'll put that on my calmness board.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff like this in the show where it's just me, like, it's a bunch of different PNGs that I've kind of stitched together. So, like, this is just a bunch of PNGs of the, what are they called? The push pins, and, like, the eye. This is actually Lyle right here. The eye. He sent me a picture of a video of his eyes bugging out, and I kind of took an image that I got, a PNG image of a hole, and then I just painted it green and then chromed it out so that it looks like his eyes coming through the hole here. I just Googled cryptid and this came up, so that's what I used. The horse head was a weird one because, like, I didn't know if it was gonna work. It didn't. I think, like, the fact that, like, it actually, I think, hopefully it read to most people, but that was one that I was worried about wouldn't read. Lyle did get it though. Like, after I was like, hey, like, this is, how do you think of this? Like, oh yeah, it's from The Godfather. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, good. And of course there's an overdue tax thing here because this character hates paying his taxes, which has paying anything to society. It's been established that he doesn't like doing that. And then this is just something, YouTube is kind of like if you look up like green screen stuff, just make sure it's royalty free. You can use a lot of green screen stuff that you can find on YouTube. Typically people upload it and they're just like, it's green screen. Use it for whatever you want. It's fine. Well, make sure you check if they're okay. Like, you make sure that the person you're taking it from is okay with random people using it.
Revengeanate.
Is there any other parts of this one? Let's go to a different one. Go cut this out. Is there any other?
And once it is.
Okay, we already went through this one. Let me close all these. The only problem is that these nests start to fill up your bar here a lot. Typically, actually, I don't edit using this little tiny window. I push this to, I have a second monitor over here that I basically have just for displaying the entire episode. And I would really recommend doing that, especially if you're doing anything with opacity masking or tweaking, because it's just way easier on your eyes. And your back too. I didn't notice I was doing this, but I was going in like really close and squinting a lot when I made these, and it was starting to really hurt my back. and mess with it. And it was just like, and then like, I got a new chair and I fixed it and I realized, okay, well, if I just make this bigger, it's going to be a lot easier. You don't, especially if you're sitting around a lot, ergonomics really matters. I know it's like a weird lame tip, but it's a tip.
That's
Okay, it's this episode. Let's watch this one.
Ah, yes, 'tis a time of Yule. This is the most Yule I've ever tizzed, if I'm being honest. And a bountiful snow's giving awaits. But before we carve our tidings rats, something jolly this way comes. And I expect the snowflakes aren't gonna like it. That's right, here at Pregame Discharge, we don't say no happy holidays. We say, fight me on the gift rock, coward! You want your video game? You don't have to win, you just have to earn it.
This is something I do a lot. And it's very simple, but I think it's really effective, which is just, I have a character in the foreground, I have a character in the background, and then I kind of have them both move in different directions away from each other. It kind of gives this aspect of like a panning shot. And then I'll try to move I try to move this along with the character.
To win, you just have to earn it.
At like a slightly different speed. It just kind of makes it a little bit more 3D. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And like just being able to, it just adds a little bit more flavor, you know?
There is a Christmas on war.
Also, this is an edited image I used.
Lest we not forget.
So this is pretty simple. I just found blood dripping and I kind of masked it out and then I had it moved down in the nest.
Get the spirit of the season.
This is just an image of blood dripping and I just kind of went like that.
We're celebrating on his birthday after all. Krasnavog, the unyielding third king of death.
Okay, so this scene was a little bit complicated. So forget about all the lightning and the fire and stuff like that. So if you look at this, there's a lot going on here. There's no audio here. It's not rendered. I might have to render this for us to be able to look through this very, very well. You might even be able to hear my computer just chugging right now, because this is just a lot of stuff. So what this is, I have a nested image that is Krasnavog the Unyielding, which is the first thing that I built when I was making this episode, because I love making monsters. It's my favorite thing to do, is to create these and just see how ridiculous I can get. So I think I got a picture of a warrior, which is this guy, which I'm 99% sure we paid for that one. And then I got a picture of a deer head, or a deer, and I cut the head off and I attached it to his body, which, looking at it now, I kind of wish I had made this like almost look like it was stitched on, but oh well. It looks, I still think I love the way this character looks. Then basically stapling little details onto him. The third eye was one that I thought was pretty easy. You can just take an eyeball, stick it on there. I whited out his eyes, which was just a simple mask. Took a color mat and then colored over, like just masked over his eyes. Then the scorpion tail, also very simple. Just got an image of a scorpion, cut out the background, stuck it behind him. And then the lightning is a very not good looking a tool from Premiere that you can, that I don't know if a lot of people know this, but they've left this in. Yeah, generate lightning. And it's cheesy, it's great. I love this.
King of Death.
I hope they never get rid of it, because I use it for a lot of dumb stuff. Especially, even Oni plays that. It's like there's one in one of the Avengers episodes where I had the statue of Iron Man like shoot a laser out at Kamala Khan, and I used this and I just made the lightning really thick and then not move, so it just looks like a laser beam. And I love this effect. I hope they never get rid of it. But they got rid of like a lot of the stupid fun stuff, like star wipes and stuff. So unfortunately, when I do star wipes now, which not often, but sometimes it's funny to do them, you just take a green screen of a chroma image of a star and you kind of just make it pop out. So let's see. So I'm gonna go back to this. So this was another one that was kind of complicated, and I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm saving it just because that sometimes it helps it clean up a bit. You know what? Let me render it. Let's see how long this is going to take. If it takes more than like 5 minutes, then I'm not going to render it all the way. But I'll just show you like kind of what I did while this is doing this. It'll make it a little bit more convenient. Oh wait, you know what? It's going to make me stutter. Yeah. That's going to be too much work for my PC, so I'm going to turn that off. Yeah, I think we might want to get out of here because I'm starting to notice my stream's getting messed up by this. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. Really quick. Just going to not move this around and really quick go through this. This is a video that I found of a wormhole opening. I cut that out. I stuck this here. This is a 3D animation. It was royalty free. I was allowed to, so I was like, okay, I'll use that. And then I got this guy, which I had created, and I had him animate going from here to up here. And then I nested it, and then I just masked this opening so that he comes out of it. And you can do that pretty easily. And then I just started stacking stuff on top, like the fire, the lightning. I think I should have left some blood here. You know, I have him on the rock here. There's like this image is not as complicated as the other one, like the zipper opening, but it's a similar idea. You know, have him coming out of it. You just basically make it so he moves up and then nest it, and then you layer that on top of the background image, which is the rock, and then you opacity mask just like a curve and kind of match it with this, and you have him move up out of it. There are probably easier ways to do this. This is just how I do it. And again, I haven't really like tried to refine it too much because I feel like that would take away from the charm. If it looked too good, like I'm surprised. This looks very 3D for like a 2D static image, I think.
King of Death, you know well and good the bells jingle for thee. My fists are
yeah, so I did this again where like the two characters moving like side to side.
And my vengeance is cold, candy cane. I'm like.
So like, you know, a lot of these perspective shots also add some stuff. I wish I had put a shadow here now that I'm looking at this. Either way, it's fine. The idea, oh yeah, shadow here too, like a shadow kind of just dropping back. But a lot of this,
Yes,
to save time, is me just having a static image and then kind of having him with a thing on a body moving around. This does not take any time at all.
time of Yule. This is the most Yule.
Yeah,
And a bountiful snow's giving awaits. But before we carve our tidings rats.
Yeah, stuff like this doesn't take long. Just making these weird photoshops, basically.
Something jolly this way comes. And I expect the snowflakes aren't gonna like it. That's right, here.
So, yeah, a lot of these are just like compositing images. Compositing, just mashing stuff together. And just building things out of this stuff. Okay, wait, no. This one, okay, I don't like that episode personally. Like, this intro's fine, but like, there's not like. Let me see. Let's go through this.
Life is a flight of stairs. When you're falling down them, you just want it to be over. But when you hit the bottom, you always wish you had more stairs. And that's why when somebody betrays me, I always make sure they have enough stairs to appreciate
Oh god.
a good metaphor.
Okay, I lied. This one was complicated. I forgot about this. This is literally just me taking the same image and then copying it like 9 times. And like kind of like trying to make it look smooth. That took forever.
So to all my enemies, I once again say you're welcome. And you're welcome to try and stop me because you know I'm the push you need to the stairs you deserve.
Also, this one was a pain in the ass.
To the stairs.
Because I had to... I forgot about some of these. I had to mask out all the spear tips so they didn't go over the stairs. And then I had to move the stairs at the same time he was moving because these stairs are not a high resolution image. So if I nested these together, the stairs would look very choppy and bad. So like I had to like you already see it's starting to lose transition like resolution a little bit. It's a little bit choppy, but like when you zoom in on him too much, it doesn't make him look good. So I had to move these independently.
Because you know I'm the push you need to the stairs you.
If this is people's favorites, a lot of these episodes is just I kind of relate them to like, did I have fun working on them? And sometimes like if I just like the episode is good but I did not have fun working on it, then I won't like it. This one is a good intro, I think, but I remember this was a stressful one.
You deserve. I stand here ready at the edge, and I will be pushing on the dance floor.
Okay, I forgot about this.
Pushing.
So this was pretty easy. I just, it doesn't look that good now. I just basically made him like kind of squish down a bit, and then I made the image of the sky move up, so it gives this like perspective. And it also, yeah, that's the other thing I did. I had this zoom in, and then as he falls back, it zooms out a little bit. So it gives this perspective of the person falling back, and then I put the hands up. That looks a lot better than I remember it looking. You know what? I like this a lot more than I did like 5 minutes ago.
Edge, and I will be pushing on the dance floor. I'm pushing on the toilet.
Oh jeez. Oh no, I lost it. Okay, so
I'm pushing.
that is an example of me using After Effects, but I think I deleted the source file accidentally. Let me see if I can find that on YouTube and we can watch that.
Playground.
But yeah, well, that's weird. This is an After Effects composition as well.
I'm pushing.
So I just took this guy's arm and I used the puppet pin tool to make it move, kind of like he's shoving the kid.
I'm pushing. Go. I'm pushing.
It doesn't look amazing, but if it's really fast, people don't usually like. It's like you know, you ever seen those things where they break down like frames of anime, and like the in between frames will be all like wonky and weird. Like yeah, if you took this frame by frame, it doesn't look amazing, right? Like look, it clips right through them. But if it's fast enough, you don't notice. See, looks fine. Yeah, no, that was Lyle on the toilet. Yeah.
Go ahead and tell teacher, but I won't get in trouble. My mom doesn't care. She's divorced, and she's a metaphor too. A metaphor ought to.
Oh, that's the other reason that this one was difficult, just because like I couldn't come up with anything for this episode. This is one that Lyle had to help me on a lot because I was just like, I am just dead. I am so like out of ideas.
Which suck dicks instead of blood, apparently, but I don't need no new daddy. If my 5 Christmases haven't made it clear to you already, you and I are not the same. In the game of stairs, I am Mario, jumping up them backwards, while you tumble down, trying to keep track of all these meta.
Yeah, this I think I was like gonna originally have him falling, like show him falling down it, but I like the idea of it kind of doing like the little kind of flash transitions there. Yeah, that toilet shot was After Effects. I just lost the original composition. I think I might have deleted it by accident.
Force. I sure haven't been. I'm Lyle Rat.
Let me see if I can find that actually. Let's here, let me go to YouTube. Let's just watch the original episode here. Because let's see. Let me just find the actual thing before I start playing something randomly. Where is it? Which one was it? This is, I think it's, yeah. Okay. So we go to this.
Flight of stairs. When you're falling down them, you just want it to be over. But when you hit the bottom...
So this is what...
On the dance floor, I'm pushing. On the toilet, I'm pushing.
So that...
Dance floor, I'm pushing. On the toilet...
So this is just me literally taking the puppet pin tool and just pinning his knees and pinning his feet and having him bend back. A lot of that is like super simple stuff. The image is just like this guy sitting on the toilet, or like I think it's just like
Dance floor, I'm pushing. On
the original image is like just this, and then I just stretched his arm and stuff like that going out.
I'm pushing.
Or no, I think this is the original image. Yeah, no, this is the original image, and then I had him stretch into where he's sitting more in place, and then I had him fall back a bit. I think it came out good.
And this is Pregame Discharge, the only video game show that stares.
Let's see. Okay, let's go to another episode here. Which one is this? Okay, I did this one already. Episode 4. Yeah, okay. So this, I think, is my favorite that we've done this season. I was really happy with how this one turned out, and a lot of the stuff in it is very simple. Like, this is just an image. We threw some stuff. This was like, usually we try to make the show kind of cheesy and weird. But my God, we just went over with this one, and I was really happy with how it turned out.
Gaming and can't work? You may be entitled to all the Cheetos in the snack drawer. I'm Lyle Rath from Pregame Discharge, and around here we have a saying, the gamer is always right. I will personally call your fucking dad on his cell phone and tell him I don't give a fuck if he's a contractor. If you've hit level 100 on the Fortnite Battle Pass, you have officially worked the number of hours to qualify as a full-time employee, and you deserve benefits. Did writers kill off a character that you like? Get out of here. You have a legal right to a full retraction and final say in the writer's room, as well as a character of your exact race, gender, political affiliation, and build represented exclusively positively.
That was an image of Conan Exiles where it's just the dick slider going up. That's what that was.
People like to treat gamer like it's a dirty word. Well, we're taking it back. It's our word. If someone calls you a gamer with a hard R, start recording and scream at them in public.
Sir, what did you just call me?
What? Yeah, fun fact. We actually had to go to we went to a parking lot, and we just found this guy there, this innocent guy, and we just got a video of Lyle yelling at him. It's pretty good.
Every society has been built on the foundation of gamers, so don't hesitate. Call now. I am a gamer and I have my right.
Same with that. We don't know this woman. Lyle just like took a video and he started screaming at people. It was really bad.
I am a gamer and I have my.
He does that sometimes. Yeah, I want to do more film. Like Lyle's in the chat saying we got some had some spare time, so we got to film this. I want to do more, like kind of maybe mesh some of these things. All the Cheetos in the snack drawer is one of the favorite things I've ever filmed. It's really fun.
All the Cheetos in the snack drawer.
This is literally just a bathroom in Lyle's house, and we filled the drawer with Cheetos. And then we filmed this, like, we just filmed something else in like a parking lot. It's like, Lyle ate the fucking the Cheetos, I believe. I believe he ate the Cheetos. But yeah, stuff like this is always fun. I mean, we just did this on an iPhone or I guess a Pixel technically. But stuff like this, it's just so much fun. And all the Cheetos in the snack drawer, like, I don't remember whose idea it was to film it, but I just remember thinking, like, I could put Cheetos in a snack drawer, but man, why don't we just do that?
All the Cheetos in the snack drawer.
That's so funny. And Monica was very nice to actually clean out the drawer so that you could eat the Cheetos from it afterwards. She cleaned it very, very good so that no Cheetos were harmed in the making of this. You didn't eat the ones that touched the drawer. Bullshit, I ate some of the ones that touched the drawer. Whatever, I'll say it. Well, I was saying he didn't eat the ones that touched the drawers. The gamer is always right.
Is right. I will personally call your fucking dad.
So this is another simple, like, little detail. If you try to make a place look dingy, a good effect is to kind of get a lighting tool and just have lights flicker.
Your fucking dad on his cell phone.
Like, all I did was I took there's a lighting effect. I think it's called lighting. That's light. Yeah, lighting effects. I had a lighting effect where the light was going to. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, it's a spotlight effect. So I just had it kind of flicker in the background. Makes it look like this. He's in a dingy. I should have put flies or something back there.
And tell him I don't give a
This is also Lyle.
fuck if he's a contractor.
He just sent me this video.
Contractor.
And I cut him out and put him on the phone.
If you've hit level 100 on the Fortnite Battle Pass, you have officially worked the number of hours to qualify as an employee, and you did right.
So this is just like this is from the Castlevania reveal trailer for Smash Bros. And we kind of had it move around.
Kill off a character that you
And then like had the Mario. This I'm pretty sure was Lyle's idea to have like the Mario tennis racket, and that came out really good.
like. Get out of here. You
And I remember I cleaned it up so like this moved a bit more smoothly. He's like, no, leave it moving shitty because
get out of here.
that actually adds a lot. And I was like, yeah, you're right, that does work better.
You have a legal right to a full retraction and final say in the writer's room, as well as a character of your exact race, gender, political affiliation, and build represented.
Okay, so this was part that was a little bit weird.
Gamer like it's a dirty word. Well, we're taking it.
So I took an image of a tongue and I stretched it. So it was probably like this big. So this. I had it stretch out, and I had it stretch while it was moving. So I had... It's so gross. And then I just basically, as it moved, I had it stretch out and then spin and then go back in under the A. This is just a combination of a bunch of different masks and it moving. That's all it is.
It's our word. If someone calls taking it back, it's our word.
But yeah, I think it came out really good.
Taking it back, it's our word. If someone calls.
And oh yeah, and then this is just how did I do this? I forget. I got mud. How did I make it only on the yellow? Let me go in. I completely forget how I did this. So that's this. This is the mud, I believe. Oh, that's what I did. Okay. So the word gamer is green screened, and then this image behind it is yellow. So this is all transparent. So if I took this off, it's yellow. See? And there's a color map behind it, but this is the yellow color map. So if I turn that off. So basically the idea is like this is a hole basically, and you're looking through it. Yeah. It's not an alpha mask. It's a ultra key, just a key color. So I just made the word gamer green, and then I keyed it out, so you can just see behind it.
It's our word. If someone calls you a gamer with a hard R,
Another thing I do a lot is I flip his head. It's just a way to easily animate something and like kind of add a little bit more personality to it. It doesn't always work. I try to use that sparingly because I don't want that to be the only thing the scene is about. It's just like I don't want it to look too lazy.
recording and scream at them in public. Sir, what did you just call me?
This was pretty easy. This poor guy. I just took basically an image and I cut it in half and had it come together.
Every society.
Oh wait, no, I think it's the same
Sir,
image.
What did you just call me?
Yeah, no, this is the same image, but this is just the other side of it. So I just took I just have this image twice just coming together like this.
Every society. Call now.
But I like that like I was able to just be extra cheesy with this one. Using the freaking making everything look like it was on a CCTV like in the 90s in like a waiting room.
Call now. I am a gamer and I have my right. I am a gamer and I have my right.
And then of course the classic explosion that's used in like everything that I do. All right. Let's go to a different episode, shall we? So that's one of my favorite ones that I did. This is like, I think the first two are I couldn't find my sequence for the one with the what's her name? Statue of Liberty in the giant pickle jar. That one's got a lot of stuff in it, but this one is definitely one of the more complicated ones of the season. Oh yeah, no, the mud is the blood splatter green screen. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I just that's easy. You just use a color balance and you take all the red out. Or no, sorry, you take all the I want to say you take the blue out and you just leave the red and the green. Yeah, it makes it brown.
Before we start, I just want to address something real quick because everyone's been asking about it. Yes, I did see the news. Moon hatched. I don't care. If it starts shit, then fine, I'll do my thing. But otherwise, it's not my problem. I've got this indignation with the mailman that I'm really excited to vengeance on. There's a fucking invoice that I need to figure out how to fill out. I should have sent it like 3 weeks ago. I already got a list. And for it, I have acquired this jar of beautiful boiling poison. Concoction of tears from venomous serpents cried after receiving news that they had been poisoned by an even stronger poison. And here's the thing, is like, I'm actually glad the moon hatched. Like, if it fucks off, good, right? That's better. Anyway, the Denny's that closes at 11 p.m. will feel the unmitigated fury of 1,000 ghosts whose souls are trapped mid-scream as I release them directly into the ventilation system at 10:58.
My God, this episode.
The ensuing 2
There's so much shit in this.
compressed in eternity. And it's not that it hatched that bothers me. And it doesn't bother me. None of it bothers me. Like, if I were to vengeance a moon, I would have needed such a
Oh my God.
ridiculous arsenal of bullshit. And the moon jokes. Have you ever heard a good I just killed the moon joke? No, they don't exist. They're all shit. And I mean, what if it hatches? Then it's a different thing. And that's months of work. And it's just all down the drain. Why would I bother with that? I'm Lyle Rath, and this is Pregame Discharge, the only video game show that's one small step for me and one giant death for Moonkind.
So, yeah, if you're noticing all these brown parts, by the way, that's just because that I don't have that footage anymore. I deleted it to save space on my computer. Most of these are backed up on another drive. It's just on this I don't have them, and it wouldn't run properly if I used the other drive. So this one, the Jenny's that closes at 11 p.m. is real, and he's complained to me about it several times. And I've told him before, maybe don't eat past 11 p.m. Oh, jeez, hang on, I'll be right back. I gotta move my car really quick because apparently it was not supposed to be street sweeping today, but apparently, like, according to my landlord, it is. So I'm gonna move it. Hang on. Be right back. Really quick. Let me just. Yeah, I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. Let me just put this back on. Okay. So, basically, this episode has a lot of different things breaking down in the back of it. I tried to make this, I think this was the first episode that were officially, no, this would be the second episode. But, sorry, I had to run out there, move my car, because my landlord is like, hey man, did you forget it was street sweeping today? And I was like, no, I have an alarm set for street sweeping, and I was just like, I remembered it was street sweeping today. I just didn't remember moving my car. So my stupid car is ridiculous. Or my stupid street is ridiculous. There's street sweeping on the same day on both sides of the street, so you have to move it twice a day, or twice, or like there's so many cars you pretty much have to move it twice. Forgot to move it the second time. Anyway, So this episode has a bunch of different moving parts to it. Basically, we'll go through each of them. This is just Lyle, I'm pretty sure. Right here, this layer. Yep. And then if we go into here, we'll see. I think this one I actually had to reconstruct because I was going to use some of the stuff in a as a compilation part of a different episode, and I couldn't get, or just some of the other assets, and I just had to find them again. I think I lost some of this stuff. You might hear Noche. It's 2 o'clock, and all of a sudden he's hungry. He doesn't supposed to eat till 3. Noche, come here. Sorry. So, I'm pretty sure the pedestal with the orb on it right here is something that I've had in a few episodes. Which, that's the moon. Okay, so that's actually, I think this is just the moon breaking this layer. So this is just one image that, again, this is a technique I use a lot, where I just take the same image and I cut it up. So these are just the same image, and then I copy it 4 times, and each one I'm cutting out different shards of it. And then when I move it apart, it looks like it's shattering. Oh my god, hang on. Noche, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Noche, come here. Come here. Sorry. Anyway, so it looks like it's shattering. He's just very needy right now because he's a pain in the butt. And then I have this piece on the bottom as a different layer, which is this one. And then I have him behind it all, this is the axolotl. The evil being from this episode. And then, I know this looks weird, but he actually likes this. This is the only time he's like purring right now and he's calm. Why an axolotl? Because they're weird looking and they look alien. I don't know. They're cute, but they're aliens. But this is like, I have the text scroll for the breaking news thing. I don't think I wrote that. I think I just looked up like a ticker for breaking news, and then I like edit stuff on top of it. It actually like resets it. I think I did that because I wanted it to look in each shot look different. So each part where it resets is a different shot. Oh, or does it? No, yeah. So it comes back. Yeah, because here, Moon hatched, and then he's like saying, "I don't care."
I'll do my thing, but otherwise, it's not my problem. I've got this indignation with the mailman that I'm really excited to vengeance on. There's a fucking invoice that I need to figure out how to fill out. I should have sent it like 3 weeks ago. I already got a list, and
this is actually an image I've used several times. Just like there's a list image that I have, and I just like write stuff on it. This isn't the first time. Preston, you boner is a reference that he's like, I've kind of brought back a bunch. It's just a joke I really liked from one of the old episodes where he says, especially you, Preston, you boner. And I just like, I always put Preston, like, there's like 6 or 7 episodes where I've referenced Preston after that because I just always think it's funny.
I have acquired this jar of beautiful boiling poison concocted of tears from venomous serpents, cried after receiving news that they had been poisoned by an even
This shot was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Just this anime like lines thing, this royalty-free anime lines is super useful for like moving shots.
And here's the thing, if it fucks off.
And then this, so this electric discharge is like another green screen thing that like was royalty-free I found. And you just kind of.
And here's the thing, is like I'm actually glad the moon hatched. Like if it fucks off, good, right? That's better.
So that's a combination of a few things. It just starts getting crazier. And I think this is the entire sequence. Like this just kind of, and I just cut up different parts of it. Oh, I might have messed this up at one point. I don't know, why does it keep playing like that? It's really weird. I at some point I messed with this. I can't remember for what, and I don't think I think I meant to make it a copy and I didn't. But like that's the actual thing. Yeah. So I forgot that I added wings to it, and for some reason that I got messed up. I don't remember. I don't know why those aren't showing up over here, but it's probably part of the sequence here that I accidentally cut out. But it's okay. Or oh, you know what? It might just be this that I just like didn't extend. Yeah. Oh wait, no, maybe not. You know, maybe not. I don't know. Oh, it's the wrong. Yeah, I'll close this. But yeah, that's just again. This is just me creating monsters. I just added eyes, added wings, and put an electric charge behind it.
Anyway, the Denny's that closes at 11 p.m. will feel the unmitigated fury of 1,000 ghosts whose souls are trapped mid-scream as I release them direct.
And this is just another example of that classic opacity masking. I'm just having these animate like this. Just go up and up, up and up, and then I just have it masked to here and here. So it looks like they're coming out of the book and going into the vent.
The ensuing 2 minutes compressed in eternity.
And it's not that it hatched that bothers me. And it doesn't bother me. None of it bothers me. Like, if I were to vengeance a moon...
That's another easy shot. You just kind of have the darts come in.
I would have needed...
So this is something that I do a lot that is very fun, which is like, what am I going to gear Lyle up with? I think my favorite thing in this, of course, is the anti-moon monkey. I don't know where I came up with that idea, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. The anti-moon monkey. The Moon Melter 3000. And like, just like, what kind of gear would he need to take a moon on is kind of like the idea. Some of these are superfluous. Like, I think this is out of place. I don't think this is supposed to be here. I think this is supposed to be like somewhere else, but I moved it by accident at some point. You know, this is just a sword from fucking Skyrim. I have, you know, this on a coat rack. It's not very hard. I just cut this image. This is a whole spaceman. I cut his head off and I moved it over here. The cheese grater, haha, moon's made of cheese. A lot of this stuff is just like the visual gags are very pun and like old joke reliant because they read way easier and everybody understands them. So like the cheese grater was the perfect example of that. And then a lot of the times it's me explaining what that is. Originally, I don't think I had the words anti-moon monkey, but then I'm like, I don't know if anyone's going to get a purple, like, I think it was just a monkey in a cage. And I was just like, that doesn't seem like it's going to help in any way, really. Like, it just seems kind of ridiculous, which isn't like out of the norm for this character that we've created. But like, you know, this is kind of why we do these things. It's just funnier this way.
Such a ridiculous arsenal of bullshit and the moon jokes.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is an easy one too. This is just again, I just have a picture of a garage door moving down over a picture of an open garage, and then I mask it.
Bullshit and the moon jokes. Have you ever heard a good "I just killed the moon" joke? No, they don't exist. They're all shit. And I mean, what if it hatches? Then it's a different thing. And that's months of work, and it's just all down the drain. Why would I?
Oh, something I should point out. Lyle actually does the sound effects for this, typically. Sometimes I'll throw some in, but typically it's just like I do the intro, I hand it off to him, and he does sounds. He's usually a little bit better at finding good sounds and like making them work so that they're not overpowering in the intro.
Why would I bother with that? I'm Lyle.
And then like another thing is that this is every episode we do this. We have the head come down and then this pop up. But I was really happy with how this one turned out, just because we were able to just keep making this like move and then shoot a laser. Well, it could, like, the joke being it could clearly just turn 90 degrees and shoot this. Used asking for a friend, have you ever used a cracked version of Adobe software? I have. This one is Creative Cloud. I would like if you like don't want to pay for Adobe, I would honestly just recommend using one of the free programs that's out there. Some of them are better. I know DaVinci Resolve is something that I've heard a lot of people say once you get used to it is the best program to use, and it is free and it's open source. So there is a lot of plugins you can use for that. Premiere is not necessary. It is just the program that I learned on and I have stuck with it. I definitely would recommend that if you're going to use Premiere, I think Adobe Premiere 2014 is the one that I learned on. Either 2013 or 2014 is the one I learned on. And that to me was very, very easy to use. And that's where they started taking stuff out and it started getting worse, I think. This runs better because it has GPU, a GPU renderer. So it is a little bit faster is the advantage to the newer Premiere. But the older versions of Premiere, which you cannot get through the Creative Commons, the Creative Cloud website, the Adobe Creative Cloud website, they don't exist there anymore. They want you to use the new ones. The older versions were a little bit more intuitive for this kind of editing. I have kind of learned to work around it because of necessity. Just like short deadlines, I wasn't able to get, and it wasn't really that, it's not that different. They just moved some stuff and renamed some stuff or combined certain effects. You can still use this one and I still use this one, but I don't blame anyone who would rather use an older version of Premiere. And that older version is not available on the Adobe website. So there's that. Do with that information what you will. Some people use in the chat say they use Vegas. I don't think I would recommend using Vegas for anything that was more advanced than this. It probably works fine, but I would imagine it takes very long to edit something like this in Vegas because of the rendering. Rendering in Vegas is a little bit monotonous, and there's certain things that don't read as well in Vegas. Premiere is a little bit more straightforward with everything it shows you. You don't have to use Premiere. Vegas is a very cheap option. I just have heard too many horror stories about it, and I don't feel comfortable using it. That doesn't mean that it's not a good program. That just means that I don't use it. What else? So, yeah, and then Premiere, just the nesting, like for doing this kind of thing, it's just what makes it way easier. It makes it leaps and bounds easier with the nesting. If you're just editing like a simple video, like a gameplay or something like that, like I know there's several OnlyPlayers editors who use Vegas. It's totally fine to use Vegas. And even for like some of the stuff that is similar to this, but maybe not as advanced, I think you just use Vegas. Vegas is not a very hard program to use. The only thing I don't like about it is I don't like how it edits, how it works with audio. I find it very confusing with audio. It's easier for quick editing, but once you know all the key commands on Premiere is very, very quick. You just have to know how to use it. If you know how to use Premiere, it is probably the fastest program, and it's why so many people use it. So many professionals use it. Trust me, like if these other programs that are free were simpler to use, the professionals would not be paying what they're paying a month to use Premiere. Yeah, and it's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard layering in Premiere because not only because of the render, but because typically in Premiere the idea is that like these nests would not be nests. You would be rendering it out into a file, into like a video, and then putting it back into Premiere with like a green screen behind it. So like this nest would be a video that you would export this with a green layer behind it, and then you would key it out in Vegas afterwards. So you can do it that way. But I would say that Premiere is just easier because everything is part of one thing. You can edit things on the fly and move things around a little bit easier. But I understand that Premiere is also not the most cost-effective way to edit. And therefore, if you're a student, you can get the student price. Or like if you want to use an older version of Premiere, there are ways to get that. But be very, very careful at where you get them from. If you know somebody who has one already, maybe just get it from them.
They're all shit. And I mean, what if it hatches? Then it's a different
And that's months of work, and it's just all down the drain. Why would I bother with...
So let's see. All right, let's go. This episode actually wasn't as complicated as some of the other ones. There's a lot of... I was proud of this one because of all the animated stuff I have going on in the background. I have all these little things moving. And then I even like added stuff where like the orb is... I think the orb is rotating, right?
Because everyone's been asking about it. Yes.
Orb is rotating very slightly. I have the Douglas fir tree, the patented Douglas fir tree. Actually, yeah, like really happy with how some of this stuff looks. This is an image. There's a plant here already. I just put the Douglas fir tree over it, so the shadow's still there, which is really nice. But yeah, you'll see like I blur things out as I zoom in or zoom out and stuff. Yeah, see like adding the blur here to like to determine focus, it adds a lot, I think, to how the thing looks in just 3D. If you're gonna make something flat like this, adding perspective is very, very important because it makes it read as like an actual. It just makes it read better. I'm trying to find the part where the cat runs by, the game cat runs by. I think that's here. I think that's here. Yeah.
And it's not that it hatched that Bob...
So this is a character that we created for an older episode where Lyle was yelling at video games like it was a pet. And that was fun. But I just basically I found that same cat image that luckily I still had all the files, and I just transferred it over and just had it run around.
I would have needed...
Okay, and then let's go to the pregame return. And then I want to watch like a couple of our older episodes if you guys are down to stick around for a bit. Maybe ask and then do just like more of an AMA segment after that. But we're gonna watch this. This is our first episode when we came back after working with Destructoid, and we took about a year off.
An ending? What is an ending?
What is an ending?
I've never heard of an ending.
What is an ending?
What is an ending?
What is an ending but a protracted excuse to shit yourself? I have lived 1,000 lives and died 1,000 deaths, and I can't help but keep sucking them back in. For in all existences, the only unpinchable loaf is an annual presentation of unfinished video games. You are under siege by commercials for children, and they will get you. The commercials, not the children. But I am back to stop both. I'm Lyle Rath, and this is Pregame Discharge, the only video game show to never suck the toe. Look me up on WikiFeet, and you'll see I'm undefeated. A double negative and a triple threat. One for each eye that I have opened to gaze unto the deepest truth. A message from the universe screamed time and time again. No game, no hype, those is the rules. Let's fucking do this!
So this, I believe, yeah, we're missing the sound effects here. It's because I forgot. I sent this to Lyle. Some of the sound effects are here, like this, the music and the.
An ending? What is an ending?
What is an ending?
I've never heard of an ending.
What is an ending?
What is an ending?
Like that, like zoom out sound effect is there.
What is an ending?
And just like. And I basically just did this intro. I sent it to him, and he put the because this episode was the E3 special last year, and when we did that, I believe we had it so that we did it in a way that was more I basically I had him do all the news stuff because he wanted to kind of riff off the news while he was recording it. So it was a little bit more fluid for him. When we used to do E3, that's usually how he would do it. Now, because we have like at the end of the month, we're doing it a little bit differently. But I think you guys are gonna like what we come up with this month. But this is a little bit. This is like just a different kind of episode since it's the E3 special, and it was our return special. But this was something that I was really happy with how it came out.
I have lived 1,000 lives and died 1,000 deaths, and I can't help but keep sucking them back in. For in all
I actually don't think I don't think I did the thing I was supposed to do there. I with like this is definitely not like the full version. I think I might have put this in a different project at one point. So some of this stuff is like a little bit like not exactly what it was. But yeah, I just had this like each image. I had a bunch of old episodes, and I found basically different images I'd put together of Lyle, and I combined them all and tried to make his head in the same place on almost every single one. So there's a lot of them. I forgot about the hippopotamus. That's him as Uncle Sam. And that's him as the guy from Mad Men that I use this image a lot. It's just the guy from Mad Men smoking a cigarette, and I would add smoke to it and then put his head over it. It just his head fits so well on that like body. I think the head actually should be a little bit bigger here, but that's him as a pirate captain with fire behind him. That's him as a lady. I don't know what that red is from, but whoops. That's him in a kid's classroom. I don't know why he's there. That's him with a katana. But yeah, like a lot of these are just pieces of old videos. I think that red bar might just be like, I think that might just be like an issue with it didn't come out in the renders, so it's whatever. There's him with sunglasses. But yeah, this is just old episodes. And that was one of the things that was really nice. That's really nice about the shows, because we have so much content. There's a lot to fall back on if I need to reference older stuff.
lives and died 1,000 deaths, and I can't help but keep sucking them back in.
The close-up with the eyes is a shot I use a lot. Yeah, what I'm saying, this is not the finished version. That's supposed to get smaller and kind of shrink into his eye, and I messed up. I don't think I did that yet when I saved this and then made it its own project. I don't know where that project exists. How do you manage your video files? I'd imagine you just have a wall of hard drives to keep everything. No, I don't. Everything is on one. I have a 4 terabyte drive in my computer that backs everything up. It's very slow, but is very large, so it can keep everything. A lot of the times, if it is trailer footage or stuff that is not in the intro, I will delete it because I'm more concerned with preserving the intros and the news segments, just because it's just trailer footage. Like, the audio is still there. As long as I keep the audio, I don't mind. If I had to remake any episode of Pregame Discharge, it would be very, very hard for me to remake the intros, but very, very easy for me to remake the news segments. So I don't mind deleting. Like, I keep all the trailers in my download folder, and then I clean my download folder once or twice a month.
For in all existences, the only unpinned.
Well, this is a very simple shot. I just had this is my hand again, and I have edited it to connect to this arm. This actually does not look as clean as I remember it. It looks all right, but like this here is not as clean. I kind of wish I had made this a little bit wider and moved it over a little bit. Even motion, it doesn't look bad, but when you pause it and kind of stare at it long enough. But I added my hand onto this, and then this is the actual hand, and I just cut out. Basically, it was pretty easy. This is just a different image that I've layered on top of it. So this is just 2 images separated, and I have this image kind of curving around the tree branch here. This was pretty easy. Like, originally I was gonna have it so like you could see his arm and stuff, but it started to look really janky, so I just silhouetted the whole thing. This is actually just a bunch of different moving parts. So how this works, I believe. Let me change the so the color matte so it's visible. I had to have this here so that I could see. See, I would Steve. Excuse me. So this one is a pretty simple. In like theory, a little bit more difficult in practice. So I just have the Douglas fir tree silhouetted. I have his body silhouetted with the head on it, and then the arm is 2 different parts. So if I go into here And I make this visible. And then you just keep, every time I go deep, I have like another color matte that I'm using just to see. So like literally this, it's just this one motion of the tree going out, and then I move it back one layer. Oh, whoops, I forgot to turn this off. I move it back one layer, and I add the other, this, like I'm having this move in this way, and then I have it move connected to this arm. So see, it looks a little bit janky there, but it's fine. Looks like one arm extended, but it's silhouetted, so like you don't have to worry about blending things. And then, oh, I gotta remember to turn the color matte off. And then this, I just add it onto the person, and it's one thing. And if I go back one more layer, let's close all these sequences. And I just throw the space background behind it, and there it is. I was happy with this, how this came out at the time. I think now I could do it a lot better. Like, this is kind of pixelated here. The silhouette didn't render properly. I think I cleaned it up later, but I could be wrong. This is a pretty simple image. This is just an image that I created, and I zoomed in on it. So that's the whole thing, and I just zoomed in on it to where the hand was on the outside, and I just pushed up. This is one I was kind of proud of, this monster. You don't have to invest in Premiere, Monica, but I would learn it. It is a very common program. If you can learn it, I would try to learn it. Oh, actually, I need this image for later. The E3. I need that 3D one. I couldn't find that. I forgot that I had it already. This is like, so I just found there was like an image that was a bunch of tentacles that was free to use, and I just kind of cut them out so they moved in different, and I put an octopus behind it, and then I kind of just used a bunch of different tentacle PNGs to create this, and each one that was kind of longer and slipperier, I stuck one of our favorite people's heads on them. I'm very, oh yeah, it's the Zelda guy. I'm actually very happy with how that turned out. But then you kind of just have each of them move independently. But I am back to stop both. How did I think I had them stretch a bit. So what I did was, let me just go into here. Oh, that's the orb. Let's go back to here. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So this is like the animation of it like moving around. I kind of just had them slowly move back and forth. And like that just kind of gives it more of like a smooth kind of like, oh, it's like a live kind of look. I kind of wish I had, now going back, I wish I had moved these little bottom ones a little bit. Makes it a little bit like more stylish. And then this is the orb, the hand with the orb going over it. This one is pretty simple. I just have this playing where it's just him with the open hand. That is my hand again. I just have the orb moving in a circle. And then as soon as it gets to this point, I have an image that I took of my hand doing this. And I'm working with that basically. So it's like this. I took an image of my hand going like this, and I kind of basically cut out pieces of the orb so that it fits, and added that electrify effect that I found, the animation that I found for free with green screen. A lot of that stuff on YouTube, guys. Do not squander that resource. A lot of this stuff is supposed to be hacky and dumb, so I'm fine with it looking a little bit weird. But I've used this animation and a couple other stuff, which I'm very happy with how it looks when it's like he's just grabbing the...
I'm Lyle Rath, and this is Pregame Discharge, the only video game show to never suck the toe. Look me up on WikiFeet, and you'll see I'm undefeated.
You notice I use this in a different... I use this when the The goat, or the was Krasnavog comes out of the rock. It's the same thing.
Double negative and a triple threat.
This was a weird shot, because
One for each eye that I have opened to gaze unto the deepest truth.
I remember I had a different effect where they kind of like shrank into his eye like that, but it just didn't look good enough. And then like even this, I'm not super happy with it. The problem is that his arms are sticking out here. So with the way his arms are sticking out, I couldn't have it go over him. I had to have them go out and then in, and then it was just getting kind of towards the 12th hour, so we kind of just kept it the way. So like, because if you notice, like they get small enough and they don't touch him, so now I can move them on top of his layer to go into the eye.
The deepest truth. A message from the universe screamed time and time again.
Yeah, and then this is just a test effect that I downloaded.
No hype. Those is the rules. Let's fucking do this.
But a lot of the times with that sort of stuff, as long as you're not... A lot of this is just stacking things in different ways. For the most part, that's what it is creating small little animations that you put on top of other animations, and that kind of creates a scene. At least that's how I do it. There's probably other ways to do it. It's all right. Why is this? I don't know why that deleted that. Okay. So let's see. I think there was one more episode I wanted to go through. Oh, geez. And it's this one.
This is Pregame Discharge, the only video game show that graphics.
So, yay. This episode I remember was like a failsafe for us. I just remember Lyle going like, this was when we were doing episodes once a week for Destructoid, and we've been doing that for like 3 years. It was taking a lot to get through those episodes. Fortunately, we were getting paid, so it was like not so bad. But it was like a very it was not the easiest kind of thing in the world, you know? Like the deadline alone of having to do these in one day was a little bit difficult, but we got kind of used to it. So this was all edited in one day, and basically the idea behind this intro was like I just told Lyle, like, here, I have some ideas. I know you're getting burned out, because he had been improvising every episode for like 130 episodes when I not even 130, I think it was like 100, but even that is like every week 100 times he improvised these things. Like this, all of these videos he improvised these things, and of course the well's gonna run dry at some point. And he was just getting stuck. So I said, listen, man, just send me you screaming. I'll come up with something. So he sent me a bunch of clips of just him doing this. So that's how that episode came out. And I was really happy with how it came out, because it was just like me, this is complete creative freedom. I got to do whatever I want. So I was like, well, it has to be Vengeance themed. And I don't know, like, I was just going step by step. I was like I want to follow him throughout this entire process. So I was like, he has to, like, so I have him going down the elevator. I have him, getting the motorcycle. and then driving the motorcycle, which, you know, and then I just would just find different things. I was like, well, what's a ridiculous thing he hasn't been in yet? All right, air balloon. And I find a picture of an air balloon, put him in the air balloon, have him going up. And then I was like, well, what does he do when he's in the air balloon? Originally, I think I was going to have him go to space or something, which I was like, I don't know if that makes sense. So I had him dive out of the air balloon. But I love the jokes of this show that are just, he would rather, Lyle as a character, at least in this, would rather go through all kinds of hell to get someone back rather than just like submit in a way. So like rather than pay a fucking parking ticket, he would rather burn the earth. And that is one of the things about this character that I think is so funny. And it's just like, I don't know. I love like the idea of like this ridiculous omnipresent nut job that like still has to deal with like taxes like the rest of us.
And this is Pregame Discharge, the only video game show that...
And I love that he's typically his own foil. That's very funny to me. But that's a character that like we've kind of like that character was established relatively early on. I think that was like in the first 10 or so episodes. Once we started doing more story driven stuff, it just because that's what it kind of turned into. Originally, like the original episodes, if we go back, look at the original episodes, like the first few,
Let's make one thing clear.
I think that I came on episode. This is the first episode that I edited. I'm pretty sure. Episode. Oh wait, no, it's not. This is the first episode. So he edited this. Lyle edited this.
Yet, and it also might change depending on how reception is to this one. Catchy title, right? Also, the catchy title right part is part of the title too, and so is the sentence. SEO that shit, I'll be in my trailer. I want my goddamn million views! Anyway, here's what video games did this week. Nintendo and...
Yeah, so the original concept for the intro was more just like Lyle figuring out what the show was. And that kind of sprung into, I think, this episode.
Video games, nihilism, something, my show doesn't have a name, ha 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 ha! You gotta deconstruct before you reconstruct, and you're gonna have to reconstruct that squishy fucking...
No, Lyle did this one. This is Lyle. Yeah.
Head of yours, you don't toughen that skull up. I'm Lyle McDouchebag with Destructoid, and I got drunk before...
I still think these original ones are some of my favorites. I love like the stupid... So like he kind of came up originally with like this idea that the head was like a constant, like that's him, you know, that's a constant character. And then you have like stuff like when we got into
the beginning, God said, "Let there be video games." And Adam was like, "Dude, I ain't even invented electricity yet, shit." And then we did invent it, and by the time we did, God was already long dead. The end. I'm Lyle McDouchebag, and this is...
So this is the first one I edited, yeah.
...a show on Destructoid that I shall christen... Baby Fingers. If you think the show should be called Baby Fingers, comment, "Please don't call the show Baby Fingers" down...
So originally it was just a bunch of peanut JPEGs that I was throwing up. That's really like the original thing. I wasn't really animating things. I wasn't moving things around. Lyle wasn't a character.
Hello. And if you don't think
he was a character, but he wasn't like, there wasn't a story.
The show should be called Baby Fingers, please comment, "Definitely call the show Baby Fingers."
So that's basically, you know, at the end of the day what that was. I'm going to stop watching these Destructoid ones just in case Destructoid doesn't like that I'm streaming these.
Video games, nihilism...
I might have to cut that out in a
Life.
minute later.
Life is a flight of stairs. When you're falling down them, you just want...
So... But, like, eventually, it got to the point where Lyle was telling stories, and, like, I think there was, like, an episode where... I don't want to watch too many of the old stuff that's on Destructoid, because I don't want Destructoid... I don't think they will. And the Destructoid's pretty cool, but, like, I don't want to worry about them maybe not liking that I'm reacting to it, because some places they don't like, you know, maybe not the people working there, but the people who own them don't like that. But yeah, like a lot of this stuff is just little tweaks and little pictures on top of other pictures. Let me see. I mean, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. But I think that's like... I just like how this show kind of has developed over time, though. The idea that originally it was just like this video game variety show, and like Lyle's idea to originally like be like, well, the whole gag is that we don't have a name for it, and then that turned into Lyle like telling weird stories about how video games work, and then that like just the idea for intros on these shows I just think is so great because it makes the content evergreen and it's so much fun. Let me see. Let's see if I can find the most recent one, and I'll go through how the news is broken up because I don't have the news still for these things. I should not have closed that one. Let me just see. Pregame May. That should come up. It's probably gonna slow my stream down a little bit. All right. So, here's the intro. And then we're going to go into like how we do the news. So, this is what a common timeline looks like. It's a lot of me stitching trailer footage together and then just trying to make it fit with Lyle's jokes. Which sometimes I think like it's surprising how well some of the trailer footage I find can fit with stuff he says. Sometimes he does it intentionally, but a lot of times it's unintentional, like when he's talking about stuff. Like when, like I like the idea that here he's talking about that company that owns THQ Nordic and all this other stuff. What is the name of it? Something Holdings.
Call Square dumb and move on. But in researching this story, I ended up uncovering something much bigger lurking just below the surface. Kyle, play the scary music. The company that's
And then I play the scary music.
buying Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, and Square Enix Montreal is a holdings firm called Embracer Group.
Embracer Group, right. So, it was just funny to me that, like, all the dystopian stuff they own. So when he starts talking about Embracer Group and how creepy they are, I tried to use a lot of footage
Originally, they were called Nordic, as in THQ Nordic, which is a good place to start. They own that. So Darksiders, Destroy All Humans, Kingdoms of Amalur. They also bought Gearbox last year, so Borderlands, Deep Silver. They own Saints Row, Metro, Red Faction, Dead Island. They own 3D Realms. They bought Koch Media, like Koch Brothers, not the soda. They own Time Splitters, Saber Interactive, Asper Media, that's doing all the Star Wars remasters, Biomutant, Little...
So if it's one of the things I try to do in the news is that if he's talking about a company, I try to use like a logo of some kind, just to see if like, especially with stuff like this, maybe you don't know Saber Interactive, but if you've seen this before, it'll probably be like, oh yeah, I have heard of that. You know, 3D Realms, things like that. Like the logo is just a little bit more easier way to like, because it plays at the beginning of all the video games, it's just easier to pick it out.
Because looking at the recent acquisitions of Embracer Group, they purchased a company that makes board games called Asmodee for $3 billion.
This is just me. It's like a footage of me scrolling down the website.
Billion with a B. For reference, Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion. There is no gold behind.
Here I got very lucky. I was able to find like trailers for board games.
Behind our money, you telling me fucking Ticket to Ride is worth 10 Tomb Raiders? Is Big Board Game really so vast in its influence? What the fuck is going on? We just got our first.
But yeah, a lot of the time it's just like what I get a bunch of different trailer footages for what he's talking about. I'm like, what fits the joke he's telling the best?
Look at some gameplay for Sonic.
But yeah, a lot of this stuff is just, you know, me finding what he's saying, putting it behind it, and trying to find the foot. We try not to use footage. Like if there's a black frame or something like that, we try to cut that out so that there's as much movement on screen as possible. And then we're just throwing kind of like this, you know, the too cool behind it.
Probably why Sony wants to.
And then stuff like this, like if I use a headline or something like that, I always make sure to attach the company that wrote the article at the top. I do now. I don't think I used to as much, but you know, it just you should credit people. And the same thing with like the tweets and stuff like that. Try to leave. I could just take this, but I want to take the person who made the tweet and credit them. When I did go to school for journalism and stuff like that, so I know a lot about this stuff. It's not necessarily necessary. You don't need to. I don't think they're going to come after you or anything like that. But it's good practice. It's good. If someone does something and you're using that thing, you try to credit them as best you can. And if you can't, then, you know, oh well. Like, it's not the biggest. It's probably not the biggest deal. But, like, if for some reason, like, you don't know who created it or something like that, but you do need to use it, I would say do that sparingly if you can. Oh my god, this Fortnite trailer I've used a ton of times.
This model is kind of a risk as opposed to something.
So some of these trailers I do keep because I know, like Fortnite trailers I keep because Fortnite, there's news about Fortnite all the goddamn time, and or things relating to Fortnite like free to play games, Epic Games, any of these things where it's just like, okay, this is good background.
If there's one thing that all.
And then this is one that I'm always worried about is whenever we use Nintendo footage. Oh god, it's so scary. Nintendo has claimed our video several times before. It's just really, it's always worrying because they were pretty free with the copyright hammer for a while.
Piece of shit.
I'm just being mean. I don't know why I'm being such a dick. It's probably fine.
One of the things I will say about some of these trailers, this is talking about Temtem, but there was an episode where we were talking about like a bunch of other Pokemon stuff. I think a lot of this, but like I think one of the things I do like about cutting up trailers is sometimes Lyle's like, no, I watched the trailer. There's something ridiculous that happens at this point. Please put that in. I'm like, oh, I missed that. There's a one part in like, I forget what the name of it is. It's Pal World. Pal World is like a Pokemon knockoff with guns that's coming out. And we reported on it in like the second or third episode of the season. And it was just so funny. There was so much crazy shit that happened in that trailer though, and I just remember him going like, no, you gotta find the image of like the Pokemon constructing the guns, and like he's like, you want to make a Pokemon gun sweatshop, and he's like, well no, you gotta find the one of like, I was like, well what about this part? And there's just like this big fat like Snorlax combined with Pikachu looking motherfucker that just kicks a guy into space. It's so funny. I really want to play that game, but like just seeing some of like the crazy stuff that like is in the world of video games is hilarious.
The game's been in early access for a.
And just being able to like kind of cue that to what Lyle's saying. It's another example where it's just like you're like, oh, it's sure. He's like something about like certainly looks like the new Arkham game. Certainly looks like a video game.
Gotham Knights got a new trailer showcasing Nightwing and the Red Hood. This is a video game that sure is looking like a video game.
Just stuff like that. He's got like the stiffest gun kata going around. That game is not going to be good. I would be very surprised if it was. Good God.
If you're a big fan of the Arkham games, this is not the same team making this. That team is working on the Suicide Squad game, which is also a multiplayer co-op superhero game.
So yeah, there's a lot of it is just me trying to take the what he's saying and then just find trailer footage that works with it. Sometimes they'll ask for stuff. Like this, he specifically said, put in the clip that says it's time for crab. I think, like, yeah, let me see if I'll take that out.
It's time.
Kyle, put the clip of them going, it's time for crab.
Yeah, he legit. So sometimes he'll do that. He'll just ask for me in the recording to be like, put in it's time for crab. And it's always funny.
On 2077 at
Yeah, these are also my favorites where it's like, okay, there's a shit show going on. Now I need you to show the shit show.
Colossal fuck up. But some fans are hopeful that as more content is added to the game through DLC, it can finally become what CD Projekt Red promised it would be. So long as they don't fuck that up too. Now we might have a good idea of what's in store since someone at CD Projekt Red fucked up and patched the script for the DLC in its entirety into the game's file.
Yeah. So like here it was just me like going, okay, well where's some funny glitches online? That's always fun to be able to do that. And just like watch dumb videos like that. So I think in this one is where we talked about E3 being dead. Yeah, this is another example where I just watched like dumb E3 compilations and was able to like cut clips from it. That is my favorite video. I love this.
E3 is dead.
They weren't even close. Like he went before he was even ready to move his hand. Good God. Oh no, this poor soul.
In 2022.
I love, and this is one of my favorite videos too.
Not even a digital event like last year.
The sadness.
Now the E3 having committee has reassured us that it'll be back in 2023. But
all the oh God, if you've never seen this, watch this. The Jamie Kennedy at E3. Oh my God. You just see someone's career dying. That's so funny.
Then what happens? Well, Jeff Keighley has announced that the Jeff Fest, or whatever the hell his gaming presentation thing was called, is still...
I wish I hadn't deleted this. This is like from this clip. It's very funny where it's like Jeff walking out and talking to like other content creators. And it's like, it's Rocco from Mega 64, a couple of people that I don't recognize, and then Angry Joe. And it's like, this is after the whole Angry Joe getting mad at Jeff Keighley thing. So like Jeff Keighley had him back on the show. I don't know. It was just so funny to me that he was there. This was definitely after. And then actually, I'm 99% sure it was after. It might have been before, but I think it was after. And then they had what was it? So they had Rocco on, and if you actually watch the whole clip, it's called, I think it's Summer Games Fest, or it's like the YouTube Showcase or something like that. It was before he had Summer Games Fest. So it was the YouTube, it was when Jeff Keighley was on E3, but before the Summer Games Showcase. I'm pretty sure it's, what is it called? Oh, jeez, I hate that. Reveal in project. I don't have the file anymore, but I can still see what it's called. E3 2018 press conference experience, I believe. Expectations with, with Jeff Keighley or something like that. So Ubisoft E3 2018 press conference expectations with Jeff Keighley. That video is so funny because Rocco is there and he doesn't give a fuck. It's so funny.
Also, this thing called the
but that's a great video.
And anyone can sort. So I'm sure there will be a bunch of those as of this.
But like just being able to staple together E3 shit show clips.
As of this recording, Microsoft and
this is from the Nihilist Guide. I know what this is. Some of these are from the Nihilist Guide to E3 video.
Must be
but I think I downloaded that, and then just because I have it somewhere else, I deleted it and moved it.
E3 is supposed.
And then you have, of course, my favorite E3 clip of all time, which is the most awkward thing you've ever seen, which is a bunch of grown people trying to play Wii Music, which no one bought, I'm pretty sure. I think that must have been, that had to be like, correct me if I'm wrong, that has to be the worst selling game in Nintendo's history is Wii Music. It absolutely has to be. There's no way any game sold worse than that.
But E3 is not so.
Or like this, the fucking, everybody thought of New Gears of War, but it was Funko Pops.
E3 is.
This is another one of my favorite clips, and I use this one a lot. It's
must be this tall to enter sign at the door.
The Webster from Drake. This lady just is here, and then it pans out with a guy in a duck costume.
Does that need to exist? I mean, no.
I don't know. This is my favorite part of doing the news is finding the crazy shit and just editing it to what Lyle says. It's so fun.
It's funny that it does, so I hope it lives for 1,000 years.
Yeah, there's some great clips from. I'm gonna miss E3 if this never comes back. This better come back. This is the best thing about E3. If you've never heard of Wii Music, look up Wii Music E3 2011, I think, It's so funny. It is like the most awkward thing you've ever seen. It's like it is top tier, like corporate cringe.
Season 2 starts May 3rd.
And then sometimes I have to do stuff like this. So it's like this is just a high-res image that they put out on their website, showing the roadmap, and I just kind of zoomed in on it when he was talking about certain things.
Include 2 new
Pretty easy.
maps, some new game modes, including Was King of the Hill seriously not in this game already? Campaign co-op is now slated for late August, although it's been specified as a target. And
then yeah, if he talks about something and points something out,
target.
I'll highlight it. This is just a simple little square that I've made out of yellow, and I've lowered the opacity on.
Has been targeted for September. Season 3. A full 6 months after season 2. But guys, don't worry, the battle pass is fine. I repeat, the battle pass is okay. Rain or shine, the battle pass and the store will never delay. Thank you.
One of my favorite things about you covering Halo Infinite is somehow Lyle manages to go on a weird tirade that almost perfectly syncs up with the trailer that they just put out. And it's so just like mwah, here. It's so good.
A full 6 months after season 2. But guys, don't worry, the battle pass is fine. I repeat, the battle pass is okay. Rain or shine, the battle pass and the store will never delay.
It's so funny. There's another one of these Spartans the protecting like a girl who's like not in Spartan armor just running around. And like that synced up with like him kind of ranting about it too, and it was so fun. Like talking about like protecting the battle pass. It's so funny that like how well this syncs up. He did, and I know for a fact he did not do that intentionally, because he said I like what you did with the fucking the trailer there. Like I didn't even think that like that syncs up like stupid well. I'm like, I know, I don't know why it, like that's always a thing whenever we cover Halo, but like the story trailers sync up with what he's like talking about every single time. It's very funny.
Thank you, 343. You truly deliver where it counts. Here is live action Master Chief from the Halo television show, and this is the Halo cookbook. What
this is the Halo Infinite reveal. I lost that too.
a time to be
And I just made this look like it was on the screen at the Halo reveal.
a
Halo Infinite reveal.
fan and taste the miniature churros that Master Chief so adores.
I wish I could have cheated this a bit more so he's looking more at it, but it would have looked weird otherwise. And that's the old Saints Row trailer. See, a lot of this I'm just missing trailer footage for, unfortunately, because I can't keep it all on my... Each of these files for a trailer is like a quarter, maybe a tenth of a gig. So like there's like 5 or 6 gigs of trailer footage every time I download stuff. For these episodes, so I just have to delete it at the end, because otherwise, like every few months, my computer would just be completely full.
And publishers might ease up on microtransaction stuff in a better world than this one. I don't know. If you're expecting an angry gamer rant, I'm sure that those and publishers might. Does this not count?
Yeah, and like stuff like this where it's just like I have to like find images of abject corporate scummery. Where they're what were they talking about here?
GTA Online to rent out in-game billboards the same.
Right, they're talking about he's talking about putting billboards in games, like for advertisements in games, but it's like that shit's already existed. It's always existed. They're just patenting it.
$40 at launch and will already have DLC and
Yeah, and stuff like this is always funny where we
locked off features like letterbox backgrounds and character animation in the main menu.
Did this game come out? Did anyone confirm that actually happened? I wasn't paying attention to that at all. That game release at all. Anyway. But yeah, a lot of the fun is just taking stuff that he says and being able to slap footage to it.
In the time leading up to E3, a bunch of developers have been. We made a walk cycle, so it's probably about. Obviously, without E3, there's a big hole left in gaming, and next month there are going to be a ton of.
All right, so I'm gonna toss it. Maybe if you guys have any last questions, just let me know. But I'm thinking I'm gonna wrap it up around here for the next 5 minutes or so. But that's basically the process of the whole thing. I hope you guys learned something, or just at least, you know, like I was able to fill you guys in on some of the stuff and how the process works. Like trying to explain it, I'm realizing it's a lot more complicated to somebody who this is like kind of this whole thing has felt kind of like I'm showing you guys my room, and like it's really messy, but everything has its place and it makes sense to me but nobody else. um but a lot of this is stuff that if you kind of play with opacity masking and putting images together in Premiere, it makes it, in Premiere or any other editing software for that matter, you can do stuff like this. It is not super advanced. It just takes a little bit of mental gymnastics to kind of figure out how to combine images in the way that you want to combine them, and not lose resolution, for one, is a big thing. And number two, make it look as real as it possibly can without making it look too clean, is kind of the process of what I've been doing for the last 5 years of doing this. And you know, I would be happy if like I saw more content like this. I enjoy making it and I enjoy watching it, which is why, you know, I've continued to make it for, we've continued to make it for 5 years. We love making this show. But a lot of it is literally kind of just boils down to an understanding of how to create images and how to make them kind of move like puppets at the end of the day, is what it is for the intros. And then just kind of the news section is a little bit of a toss up depending on the month, but typically it's a lot of little details, and these bigger stories of things we've just started being able to do, and I'm really proud of those too. Is there anything else in here that I could show you guys? I think that's about it. But for the most part, nesting in Premiere is kind of like the technique that I use mostly. Makes things a lot easier, at least for what I'm doing. And a lot of the stuff that I use in this is very basic tools that are kind of just used on multiple layers to kind of give it that effect. Again, for like the 100th time, I've probably said this. There probably is an easier way to do this. This is the only way I know how. I hope you guys enjoyed me going through this. Unless there's no other questions, I think I'm going to end it right around here. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. I might do more of these in the future, much shorter, probably just like 30 to 45 minute streams going through the episode after I finish editing them. I just wanted to do a big one because I kept saying I was going to do these, and I just never really got the courage to do them. I'm glad I did, but I think in the future I want to make these a little bit shorter and a little bit more snappy, and just like go through everything I did on that episode after the episode comes out. All right, I'm gonna hop off, but it was good hanging out with you guys, and thanks for stopping by. All right, have a good one.